Heyo everybody, welcome back to the dannphan channel. Yes, we are continuing our One Piece live action reviews episode by episode, baby. And for this episode, we're concluding Usopp's arc. We left off on a little bit of a cliffhanger last time, so should be exciting to go over what turned out to be the finale. Featuring a lot of people's favorite villain from the East Blue, Kuro of the Black Cat Pirates. But let's go over the episode breakdown and let me tell you what I thought about all this. So we start off by seeing Zoro wake up in the well, because yes, of course, they didn't actually kill him. They just knocked him out and threw him down a well and thought, yep, that's good enough. And then we cut over to Nami discovering Luffy, who is basically dead. Before she can help him, the Black Cat Pirates come down to have their evil meeting. She hides as she realizes their plan to kill Kaya. Sure enough, Kobe, along with Usopp and the rest of the Marines, go to check out what's going down in this mansion, because Usopp, of course, told them about the Black Cat Pirates being here. And so Kobe's like, hey, we gotta investigate. But of course, Kuro is a smooth talker. He knows that Usopp is known for being a liar, which is why none of the villagers believe him about the pirates coming. Kobe also notes that he's looking for Straw Hat Luffy, and Kuro is more than happy to give them Luffy, of course, as Luffy is passed out and being poisoned, but he makes them believe that Luffy is actually just drunk. Kobe notes to Usopp that they just don't have any evidence to really convict Kuro and leave with Luffy. Meanwhile, Nami takes the opportunity to escape out the kitchen and go find Kaya and Usopp. All the while, Zoro is trying to climb up this well so that he can get out and join the rest of the Straw Hat friends. Throughout this episode, they finally go over Zoro's whole backstory, and they kind of splice it in between him trying to climb up this well, and then have these flashbacks edited in where he remembers his time training with Kuina. I gotta say, maybe it's just because I'm getting used to it at this point. Maybe I'm just crazy, because a lot of commenters think that I'm crazy. But I do think that Zoro's flashbacks and Usopp's flashbacks were both edited in the episodes much better than previous flashbacks that we saw. They just feel like they flow a little bit better naturally into the episodes. And I do kind of like this back and forth between Zoro's flashbacks and him trying to climb up this wall versus him battling Kuina and constantly losing to her. Another compliment I can give is Zoro's childhood actor. Yes, I know, I've been so mean to all the kid actors throughout these reviews, but I actually really like Zoro's child actor. He fucking nails that role so good. The only real complaint I have is that Zoro, when he was a child losing against Kuina, he was supposed to be shorter than her, and that kind of played a part as to why he lost to her so often, is because he's just like tinier. In this flashback, he's taller than her, and it makes a little bit less sense why he's losing to her given that. Even so, I gotta compliment the child actor. I can see why they would choose this guy. I can't really be that mad about it. They did a pretty good job retelling Zoro's backstory with Kuina, and I'm pleasantly surprised that Netflix didn't try to sugarcoat it when Kuina mentions that because she's a woman, she will never be stronger than a male samurai who trains as much as she does, because biology exists. Shocking, I know. So I am glad that they kind of kept that, because it does show that even though Zoro can't beat her as a child, she notes that he will surpass her, and we have seen throughout the show, yes, he has already surpassed her. Both of them had dreamed about becoming the greatest swordsman, and there was just kind of this understanding that it would be Zoro one day. But Zoro doesn't see it that way, because he looks up to her and because he respects her so much. He wants to be able to beat her specifically in a sword fight. He considers her to be his goal, and of course, at the end of the day, he never truly gets to beat her in a sword fight because Kuina passes away in the flashback. And they don't really go over how she dies in the live-action version. I think in the original, it was just something as simple as she fell down the stairs. I know some people might look back at that and be like, oh, that's such a stupid way to kill off a character, but I actually kind of like that it was so simple, that it was just something that could happen to anyone. Just the simplicity of it just made it that much more like impactful when Zoro realizes that his childhood friend has died, because he always saw her as this goal that he was constantly trying to reach, like, oh, I'll never be as strong as you. But then when she dies, it like hits him like a truck, like, oh my god, she was fragile. She wasn't truly invincible like how I'd always envisioned her. When Zoro asks for her sword, they changed it up so that it wasn't a isolated scene with him and his sensei, but rather instead he does it at Kuina's wake, which was a little bit odd just because he's in front of the rest of the students in class when he asks for her sword. So it's a little bit less personalized than with him and Sensei just alone together. He begs for her sword, but it's serviceable. I won't complain about it too much. By the time they finish up Zoro's flashbacks, of course, he gets out of the well. Usopp, knowing that the Marines are not going to help him, he goes to Kaya, tries to explain to her what's going on. She doesn't believe him. She tells him to leave, but he actually refuses to leave and instead stays by her side, saying that he needs to stay there and protect her. I like. Good job. Midnight has come. Now the Black Cat Pirates are enacting their plan by first cranking this thing that causes these security shutters to fall on the house to prevent them from leaving. Originally, her parents designed them to keep pirates out, but of course now being used to keep the pirates in. Nami meets up with Kaya and Usopp and explains to Kaya, hey, did you know that radioactive blue tea you've been drinking is poisoning you? Did you know? That's so shocking. The three of them try to escape. They use a hidden passage in the walls. Kaya plans to go to her parents' room where there is another one of those crank things that can take off the shutters so that they can leave the house. However, while they are going through this secret passageway, Kuro is coming after them trying to kill Kaya. And sure enough, when we cut over to Luffy as he's dying, he suddenly vomits all of the blue soup poison on Helmeppo. I was kind of expecting that to happen because really it's like kind of the only explanation you can give to Luffy not dying from all that poison is just if he throws it all up beforehand. Even so, it's still like, but yeah, it's kind of funny. So eventually, of course, Kuro catches up with them in the parents' bedroom and they hide. A bit intense, as you can imagine. Zoro, meanwhile, saves Luffy from the Marines. Luffy's like, how'd you know I was here? And Zoro's like, I didn't. I was trying to head back to the mansion and I got lost. Excellent job, Netflix. That is 100% Zoro's character. It is a very Zoro thing right there. Zoro is extra strong, so he doesn't need to turn the crank to get the shutters off. He can just lift it up himself. Luffy and Zoro end up getting into the mansion easy peasy. Luffy goes after Kuro, while Zoro fights his henchmen. Kaya and Nami try to escape, but Kuro catches them. He doesn't kill them immediately because that would be way too easy. He actually doesn't kill them long enough to give Usopp a chance to try to slingshot him, and then he turns all of his attention to Usopp to not stab Usopp, not even slice Usopp, but to push him. Good job, Kuro. Look, I'm not saying that the villain should kill everybody or win or anything like that, but can you at least make what they do make sense? Can it be logical? I mean, in One Piece, the original series, they were very not shy about having the heroes get beat up. And it was actually kind of something that I liked about it. This live action series seems a little bit more shy about it. I don't know why. Honestly. But anyway, I really liked the fight between Zoro and the two henchmen, the 2-on-1 fight. It had so much energy and it was very fun. I think I liked it more than Luffy versus Kuro, which sounds like a compliment, but I mean, we already know Zoro is cool. Shouldn't the Luffy fight be more cool? But anyway, Luffy shows up to fight Kuro before he can kill. Kuro just like whispers something at Luffy and then goes to hide. Just scurries away and hides. And it's like a little bit annoying. I get what they're going for, but it's also like, hey, we're working on limited time here. We had like the whole first 35 minutes of the episode with Kuro being sneaky and trying to kill them, right? I'm a little bit over that at this point in the episode. I just want to see them both go at it, you know? And also, Kuro has like all these openings to just stab Luffy. Instead, what he does is this little itty bitty tiny scratch on Luffy's chest. It's just these itty bitty little scratches. Like you have 10 swords on your hands, and yet just these itty bitty little tiny cat scratches. That's the damage that he does to Luffy in this fight. I don't know what's going on here. We have episode 1 where Zoro slices a guy in half, and then we get to episode 4 and we get itty bitty tiny super shallow scratches. And that's supposed to be Kuro's attack. Then finally the fight picks up, and for that brief time where the fight is picking up and being more energetic, when Kuro goes on the offensive instead of the defensive, that's when I was having fun during the Kuro versus Luffy fight. That's when it was good. Of course, the fight ends with Luffy grabbing him by the hands so that he can't move, can't cut him, and Luffy finishes him off by headbutting him so hard he flies out the window past the like iron shutters. Must have been one hell of a headbutt. But obviously they have to leave because the Marines are still on the island. Naturally, Kaya, because she owes them a lot, gives them the going merry as kind of like a going away present. Usopp decides to go with him and reach his dream of becoming a great pirate. But before he leaves, he has a very heartfelt goodbye scene with Kaya. Now, it is heavily implied in the original series that Usopp and Kaya are supposed to be a thing. But Oda is known for not really liking romance and being very shy of showing any kind of romance in the series. I think in an interview he specifically said that he does not believe any boy that is reading One Piece wants to see any romance of any kind. So he specifically avoids it as much as possible. And he has noted that there's not supposed to be any romance amongst the Straw Hat Pirates because he wants to avoid romance. But I felt like it was so much more satisfying to see a romance concluded or at least verified. Like I felt a relief when I saw Kaya actually kiss Usopp because it's like, oh, thank God. It happened somewhere. In some alternative version of One Piece, Kaya and Usopp are confirmed to be a thing. Thank you. But with that, they sail off on the Going Merry. Luffy, of course, riding on his special seat. Kuro, they show for a brief moment getting away from the island on a rowboat. Rather than the Marines going after Kuro, of course, they instead go after the Straw Hat Pirates. Luffy notes that the Vice Admiral, who is going after them, is his grandpa, which shocks everybody on the ship, and that's kind of where we end episode 4. It will be very exciting to see more Garp playing a more actionable role, and I think this was a really good end to Usopp's arc. But of course, I do still have a bunch of nitpicks. I feel like overall, this episode was kind of slow. There are a lot of things to like about it. I really liked the Zoro flashback scenes. While I complain a lot about childhood actors, I do like the child actor who was playing Zoro in the flashbacks. I really enjoyed that section. They did a good job making Zoro look quite cool with the 2-on-1 fight with him and the henchmen. Usopp and Nami didn't really play much of an active role. They were mostly just like hiding with Kaya the whole time. maybe they should have made Usopp do a little bit more. I mean, obviously he doesn't have to do that much, but, you know. At the end of the day, of course, Luffy should be the star of the show. I feel like they should have made his fight with Kuro a little bit more action-y, a little bit less sneaky, spooky. Ooh, Kuro, so scary. I want to see the characters getting hurt more, because I feel like I'm kind of missing that part of One Piece. But overall, I enjoyed this episode. Maybe I would say, because I'm not going with the 0.5s anymore, maybe I'll say 7 out of 10. It does have a really satisfying end to the episode. Even though I felt like most of the episode was kind of slow, I feel like the satisfying end kind of makes up for the slowness. Maybe some people might disagree with me. So here's hoping that the next episode will continue to get even better from this point onward. But what did you personally think about this episode? What did you think about the changes they made? Usopp's story arc, about how they did Captain Kuro and the Black Cat Pirates. I do kind of wonder if he'll come back. They make a point of showing that he does escape and that the Marines don't actually catch him. So I do kind of wonder, like, well, what's going on over there? If you didn't know already, I personally do make my own comics, and you're free to check them out, and you should check them out. If you've never read a single one before, go on the website burningstarcomics.net and see if you can find something that you like. If you'd like to see more of my newer comics that are currently being made, you can actually sign up for the fan club over on Subscribestar and check out some sneak peeks at pages and new stuff coming out. We're gonna keep the ball rolling with new comics, so you're gonna want to see what's being cooked behind the scenes. It's not bright blue poison. As usual, like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you guys next time for the next One Piece live action review. Bye! Program restart.